What's your grandson's name?
And what the grandson's name is Yosef ben Levi Yitzchak.
Yosef and Levi Yitzchak. Beautiful. Mazel tov to you and Esti.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Big mazel tov.
Walter. It was
Thank
great.
you. Okay, Baruch Hashem.
Okay, we're on Ayin Amid Beis on the bottom. Yuma. Kiddush Yadav Ton Rabbanon. Lo Aaron Lo Moed. Lamahu Ba Lo Hitzias Akafas Amachta. That he comes into the oil moed to get the spoon in the pan that he had left in the Kodesh Kodosh. Shekola Parsha Kula Nemar La Seder Chutz Mi Pasuk Zu. If you read the psukim in Achrei Mos, everything follows in the order that you worked, except for this pasuk is out of sequence, because we have what we've done now is we had the Kohen Gadol come out and wear the golden clothing to do the musaf and the aisle and the seir chatas. Then he goes back with the white clothing and goes to get the kaf and the machta. And that was really written prior. But the Tanoim learned that we do it out of order. My time up. Because Amrav Chizda Gemiri, what they did have as a Masorah, Chomesh Tvilos Vasor Kiddushim Tovel Kohen Gadol Makadosh Bo Bayom. They did have the Masorah that the Kohen Gadol had to do 5 tefillos and 10, washing your hands. The Iyamid considering Ksivi, if it would have been done like it was written, and he would have taken the kafel machta out at that time, lo mishkachas ala shalosh tefillah v'shish kiddushim. It's only because he came out and changed into the golden to do the other korbanos. Then he's got to change back into the white to take the kafel machta, and then he comes back out. Do you increase the tvilos from 6 to 10? For that reason, that's why they put it out of order. Now, the Gemara is going to ask, well, you could have done other changes. Maskif Lor of Zera. Maybe we learned yesterday that the hafsaka between the regular lifnai v'lifnim and the when he goes back in to get the kafel machta, was to offer his ayil, the ayil of the am, and the seir lachatas. Maybe the korban is only the seir that's nasa b'chutz, which is the seir that is offered for every yontif, and it's not including the other ones. Amar Abaya, that can't be, because Amar Kra v'yatsa ve'asa et olato. Miyitzir rishona ovid elo ve'ela. The Ola is the aisle, and the aisle belonging to the Knesset Yisrael. And that's not a chatas, that's an Ola. Rava Amar Kro uforshat es bigdei abad, which the pasuk says asher lovash. What do you mean? Shein talmud lo asher lovash. If he's going to remove something, it's clear that he's clothed, right? Klumanim poshel el masher loivesh. So the words asher lovash are superfluous. So what does that teach us? Shalovash kvar. It's saying that that's something that he wore before and had taken off, and now he has to do it again. That's the pasuk that tells you that you got to do this extra change of clothing. Maski Florava Rav Shila, the aim of the mafsik lebisar nasa b'chutz. Again, maybe the hafsaka is just the sawyer. He does all of them at one time. It seems to imply that up until now, the parsha was done according to the way it's written in Psukim. The chaylev of the chatas of the inner part and sawyer has to be burnt on the mizbech, And then v'hoder v'sparachatos v'sirachatos are taken out to be burnt. But v'ilu anantan haroy kohen gadol kashu koire and haroy parvis are nisrafim. And v'ilu emirachatos basrachim akterlu. The emirachatos are offered after the parvis are burnt. So that part's also not going according to the Seder. Ema chutz mi pasuk ze ve'elech. Oh, once you have that pasuk of uva'ar lo moyed, which takes us out of the Seder, because now he goes into the Kodesh Kodashim to get the kafel machta. Now everything can be out of order. Everything beyond that could be out of order. Now the Gemara asks a very fundamental question. My causes to mishabshte kroy, shabish masnisa. I don't get it. You've now forced us to learn that the psukim are confused and out of order because of the Tanoim, the way they listed the order. Just the opposite. You have the psukim of the Torah, follow the psukim, and you rearrange your Mishnayos and rearrange the way Chazal learned. Amr Abaya, Amr Kra, V'hamishaleach es hasoyer lazozel, V'hasoyrei foiso. My mishalech demi ikara. This is something that had already been done. Avsoyrif demi ikara. So the burning had also already been done. So you see, it's got to be learned out of order. Maybe the shiluach should happen now. So the word hamishaleach to me koramash. That means it's already been done. And Rav Amar Amar Kra Yamod Chai, the Sor Lazazel has to remain alive. Ad Mosai Yazok Lamod Chai. How long does it have to remain alive? Ad Shas Kapora. Until you apply the blood onto the Kodesh Kodoshim, the Paroichas, that's the Kapora. Ema Shas Kapora B'Shas Matan Domim, the Sulo. So that was a much earlier event. So you can't learn that this was done only now. Now, let's say the guy who was entrusted with taking the goat to the midbar meets up with the Kohen Gadol in the marketplace. Omer lo ishi Kohen Gadol asinu shlichuscha. We did our shlichus. We did what we were supposed to do. Matzah beveso. If the Mishalech meets up with the Kohen Gadol at his house, Omer lo mechaye chayim asinu shlichuso. He sort of makes a statement, mechaye chayim, referring to Kodesh Baruch Hu. He gives testimony. We did our shlichus. Omer Rabba ki mifta rabbanim mahadari b'pumdisa. Rabba tells us that there was a saying when the Chachamim would depart from each other in Pumbedisa, they would give themselves a bracha to each other. Amrachi, mechaye chayim, the person who provides life, referring to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, yitem l'chachayim arukim b'toivim u'mesukanim, should give you long life, good life, and corrected life. Then it says, "Esalech lifnei Hashem be'artzos hachayim." What does that mean, be'artzos hachayim? I mean, are there artzos hamesim? What's artzos hachayim? Amar Vidazem makom shvokim. It's a place of markets. It's big business, and there's usually mezoinos there and parnasa there. So that's what we daven for. Salech lifnei Hashem be'artzos hachayim. Another pasuk says in Mishlei, Ki orech yomim u'shnois chayim v'sholom yosifu lach. Long life and life of peace should be added to you. I don't know, what do you mean shnois chayim? What do you mean life? Years of life. What do you have? Years of death? Amar Belazar, elu shnois of shalodam, hamisavchois alav meira l'toiva. It refers to the years of a person's life that we're hoping that it switches from bad to good. Alechem ishim ekra. Another pasuk in Mishlei. Amar ber bracha elu tamidei chachamim Shedoimin lenoshim v'oisin gvura kanoshim. Talmidei Chachamim are like women because they're pretty weak. They're not involved in many different things like other men. However, in their Torah, they do gvura. They're like giborim, like soldiers. We, for example, today don't have the Beis HaMikdash to be able to be menasech wine on the Mizbeach. What can replace that? Make sure to offer Talmidei Chachamim wine. That's like pouring it on the Mizbeach. Shenemar Aleichem Ishim Ekra. Ishim refers to like being on the fire. So just like pouring wine on the fire, if you give it to the Talmidei Chachamim, it like replaces that. Person sees that he doesn't have a lot of Talmidei Chachamim in his children. Yisa bas Talmid Chacham, he should marry a bas Talmid Chacham. And then it's promised that the children that you're going to have from her will be Torah Dika Jews. Shenemar in Yaskin ba'aretz shorshu uve'afo yarmisu gizo meirech ma'am yafriach v'asa kotzer kamonota. It's also a pasuk in Iyuv that if you see that the gez of the mishpacha, the tree of the mishpacha is drying out of Torah, you should plant yourself in a place of water, which is the family of Talmidei Chachamim, because the Torah is always compared to water. That'll guarantee you that you'll have Talmidei Chachamim as grandchildren or children. Then the Mishnah said, when the Kohen Gadol would emerge alive and well for the Kodesh Kadosh, he would make a party for all of his friends. Ton Rabbanon, Ma'aseh b'Kohen Gadol echad sheyotzim Beis HaMikdash, v'avu azli kulei alma basrei. As he came out of the Beis HaMikdash, all the people were following the Kohen Gadol. Kivin the Chaziyuni l'Shmaya v'Avtalyon. At that time, Shmaya v'Avtalyon were the Gedolei Ador. Shavkula didei vazu basu Shmaya v'Avtalyon. They left the Kohen Gadol and they followed Shmaya v'Avtalyon. L'sof asu Shmaya v'Avtalyon li'iftru minei the Kohen Gadol. Eventually, Shmaya v'Avtalyon made their way to the Kohen Gadol's house to say Shalom Aleichem. Omer lahem, so the Kohen Gadol, who was upset that they had dragged away the crowd, said, Yesu b'nei amamim lishlo. I see that the people are coming here to give shalom because Shmai v'Avtalyon were geirim. So he was stoching them by reminding that they were geirim. Amru lei, Yesu b'nei amamim lishalem. Yeah, we're coming to give shalom the avdin uvda the Aaron, because we're doing things like Aaron HaKohen, who was an oyev shalom v'roidev shalom. V'lo yesi baran l'shlam d'lo avid uvda Aaron. But what you're doing is not going to lead to peace because you didn't do an act of Aaron HaKohen, but rather, you tried to shtoch us. Mishnah. Kohen Gadol Meshamish B'Shmona Kelim V'Hedyot Barba. Kohen Gadol wears 8 garments. A regular Kohen wears 4. The regular Kohen wears a ketonet. That's like a shirt. Michnas Sayim is pants. Mitznefet is his hat. The Avnate is his belt. Moisef Alav Kohen Gadol Choishen. He wore a breastplate. The ephod, sort of like an apron. Ume'il, he wore like an outer jacket with bells on the bottom. And then the tzitz was that golden sort of crown that he wore. Only be'elu nishalim b'urim v'tumim. The Kohen Gadol has to wear all the 8 begodim if he's going to ask the urim v'tumim a question. Once we got into the urim v'tumim, ein nishalim ela melech. You don't just ask the urim v'tumim what the stock market's going to do tomorrow. The king, it's meant for the king to ask a question. Let's say there's a question in halacha, the Bezdin would ask, or Lemisha Tzibur Tzarech, the general is going to go out to battle and the Tzibur needs him. it was for these things that the Urim V'Tumim was questioned. When the Torah describes something sheish, not only does it have to be made out of linen, which l'chora, that's what sheish refers to, which is made out of the flax plant. The chutan kaful shisha, it has to be not ply or 4-ply. It has to be 6-ply. That the threads have to be wrapped 6 at a time. Moshzar has to be shmona. It has to be a weave of 8. Me'il of the Kohen Gadol Shnei Masar, 12. Paroiches Esrim Varbo, 24. Choishin ve'ephod Esrim Ushmon had to be 28-ply. So Chutn Kafel Shisha Min Olon. How do we know that that by the big day Sheish it had to be 6-ply? The Amar Kra Vayasu Esakotno Sheish. That's 1. Ves Amitznefesh Sheish. That's 2. Ves Pari Hamigbo Sheish. Ves Mithlase Habod, which is not and Sheish Mazar. Chamisha Kroi Ksivi. So you have 5 psukim that refer to Sheish. Chad Legufe. Well, to tell me that has to be made out of linen. The kitnin they have. V'chad sheichutin kafel shisha. The other sheish tells me that it has to be 6-ply. V'chad sheyushazurin. They have to be, wound around each other. V'chad l'shar begadim shalom nebeman sheish. And it applies to the other begadim that are not made out of linen. V'chad la'akev, to say that if you didn't do it this way, it doesn't work. Now, my mashma the high sheish kitnahu. How do you know that the word sheish refers to linen made out of flax? Amar Rav Yezreel Chanina. The Amar Kra bad. Davra oilam in akarka bad bad bad. The flax plant comes up one by one. Bad bad. So the word bad always refers to the cloth made by the flax plant, which is linen. Maybe it's wool, which also, l'chora, every hair is independent. Maybe it also is considered bad bad. So amra iftsuli mitzvah, but wool splits like a split hair. It splits. But flax also splits. But kitnifagav lakusim it only splits if you beat it. But if you don't beat it, it doesn't split. Ravina learns a whole different limud. Omer mehacha pare pishtim yu al rosham. This is in Yechezkel. It says pishtim, which we know is linen. So the linen garment that will be on his head. Say pishtim yu al masneim. Omer le Ravashi hay makami das Yechezkel manamra. Yeah, but if that's the source, Yechezkel learned after destruction of Bayis Sheni. How did they know the din until Yechezkel? So what are you going to say? There are other things that have been stated we didn't learn from Torah's Moshe, we learned from Yechezkel, called Ben Nechar Arel Lev, which refers to someone who converts to another religion. The Arel Basar, or uncircumcised Kohen, Lo Yovel Migdashi L'Sharseni. So that was never written in the Torah. So who had told us that halacha before Yechezkel? El Gemor Gemir law. It was Masorah. It's Torah Shabbat Peh. Vas Yechezkel v'asmacha kra. Yechezkel knew the halacha all along, but he just wrote a pasuk to lean the halacha on the pasuk. Al-Khadami here as well. Gemor Gemir law vas Yechezkel v'asmacha kra. Then we said Moshzar is Shmoneh. So how do we know it was Shmona? Minolan. Dichsiv. Vayasu al shulei me'il rimonet cheles v'argaman v'tola shani moshzar. So that's 3 types of material. Cheles, argaman, tola shani. The yolif moshzar mi parochas. Now, malahalon esrim va'arba 24, but we have 3 different types. So each type was 8. Afkan esrim va'arba davi kol chad v'chad tami. Why are you learning it from the paroches, which is not really a garment? learn it, Nelef Mechoishin Veifo, which are garments. Malal and Esrim Ushmona, Afkan Esrim Ushmona. And then 3 divided by 28 is a problem. No, we would rather learn something which does not have gold in it, i.e. the me'il, versus from something that doesn't have gold in it, which is the paroiches, as opposed to the choshen and ephod that had gold. Makes more sense to learn the me'il from the choshen and ephod because those are begodim that are worn. Lafuke paroiches, the oilu. Paroiches is like a building material, part of an oil. So the Gemara says, you know what? We don't learn from either of those. Donin me'avne, we learn from the belt. The donin beged v'dover shalonem razov, and therefore the me'il, which doesn't have gold, is learned from an avne which doesn't have gold. Beged v'dover shalonem razov, and they're both begodim. Ve'ein donin dover she'ein bozov, midover sheyesh bozov. Right. Rav Mary Omar tasenu ksiv, tasenu lezev v'lo la'acher. It means that's written by the Choshen. So only by there do we learn that kind of ply, and not by other begodim. Rav Ashi Omar, different teretz. V'asita, by the rimonim, which are the bells on the me'il. Ksiv sheyukol asir shavois. They have to be equal. 8, 8, 8. Right? If you start with 28, it's not going to be equal. Hechi navid. Navid plus dasra asara, each one 10. Avud lu plus, you end up with 30. Navid trade the tisha v'chadasra. If you have 2, 9, and 1, 10, which gets you 28, Amar Kravasita, sheyukol asir shavois, they have to be equal. So there's no other alternative to learn it from the one that is 24. 24 divided by 3 is 8 each, and that's how we learn it. Here's Jerry. Okay, so now we're going to learn I'm going to sign off, and then we'll sign on again for the Tzorba.